and welcome to our Board of Education meeting. Today is September 27th, 2017. Can we please rise and pledge allegiance to the flag? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I please have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I please have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I just would like
Do you want to
something.
pull something?
I just have a clarification on 3.3, classified personnel. If looking at it, 3.3, classified, sorry, thank you. The question 3.4, where it talks about the appointment of chaperones. It just says teacher aides, special teacher aides, teaching assistants.
Right.
Why are there? You have one person's name, but then you just have like
Revised.
Okay.
We went through and revised it to speak to their function and position by building or by level, and that's to give us actually give the principal a wider net to cast for events like science fair or to any events that require chaperones, dances, those sort of things. So they're approved within their building. These are not necessarily chaperones that we're thinking about to supervise athletic events. Or
okay,
because
that wasn't.
No, the original posting was not very clear, and Enrique and I had spoken yesterday, and Enrique clarified the.
All right, just if it's and is it just whether it matters or not? Is it just limited to within the building that
for
they're
elementary
in?
Yes.
and middle school?
So, like
events.
Frankie is not automatically approved to work over at Furnace Woods, or is it?
They are, but they will never pick them up.
Just wondering. Okay,
Yeah.
that just wasn't clear. All right, thank you.
Okay.
Then I'm good with them.
All right, so can I have a motion to
So
approve the
moved.
consent agenda? Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, items removed will be our donations, and we have a $315 donation to cover the expenses for the summer star camp, which is very kind, and we thank you. Summer star camp is which camp exactly?
It's the one from
Bradford.
for special
For the high
education.
school? Okay,
No.
No.
The little kids special education tennis.
okay.
The wraparound
Like the
program.
ABCs?
It's
Right.
Oh, very good.
it's essentially the after-school program of the special education summer program.
Do we know
Thank
who
you.
this is from?
Several parents.
From parents?
Wanted to-
Well, we thank the several parents, and as I said, it is very generous. Can I please have a motion to accept the donation?
Yep.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And now we move to audience comments. Nothing? Okay. Now we go to the superintendent's report.
Yeah, a number of quick updates, and then I'll turn it over to our presenters. It feels like it wasn't long ago I was here talking about concert season, which is code for end of the school year, and now I'm here talking about meet the teacher season and open house season, and senior nights for our athletic teams and those who are finishing up 12th grade, and before you know it, it's October next week, so it doesn't feel like it, but it's incredible. Tomorrow night, we rekindle our efforts working with the Governor's Task Force team on Indian Point, which is a good segue to our presenters. But we've had a couple of developments, two notable ones. One, the Governor's Deputy Education Secretary has left, and he has appointed an interim individual who will be seated on the task force tomorrow, a gentleman, Dan Fuller, who I've had a number of conversations with to make sure we continue our momentum with the previous team. And also I've had conversations with the governor's tax and finance specialist who is on the committee. And over the next couple weeks, Enrique and I are going to meet with those gentlemen to talk specifically about the Electrical Generation Cessation Fund, which is a fancy word for the pot of money in Albany for school districts and municipalities to apply to receive state aid as you lose an electric power plant or any power plant in your community. And in 2017, in the spring of 2017, the governor and the legislature increased that fund from $30 million to $45 million, and it was due in large part because of the announcement of Indian Point's closure. But we're going to review the criteria around that fund and see how that criteria impacts us, specifically because the language around that fund was written considering power plants shut down immediately, that they turn their lights off at the end of the day and tomorrow they are no more, and that fund exists so municipalities and school districts don't have a lapse in revenue that they were receiving, whether it was through a pilot or through property tax revenue. Our case is a little bit different. We negotiated an aggressive pilot that had a step down over a number of years should Indian Point close. So our pilot agreement may not jive with the existing language of the cessation fund, and the governor has indicated interest and essentially tacit approval to recommend changed language to make sure we can access all of the funds that we should be eligible for. Essentially, we shouldn't be disqualified for funds because of how we negotiated the ramp down in the pilot. Two quick talking points about the fund. It's a fund for 8 years. School districts are eligible for 80% of the gap in revenue in year one, and then it reduces by 10% each year. All right, so by the time, if Indian Point closes and all things go as planned, we're going to have a pilot gap of around $26 million. We would be eligible for 80% of that $26 million in year one. In year two, 70% of the $26 million, going all the way down. Now that's not sufficient, and we can say that still is putting a significant burden on our taxpayers, but it's there, and it's an option that we're certainly going to utilize, and we're going to continue to work with the governor's team on what other funding streams we believe the governor owes us or the legislature owes us, so taxpayers don't assume that burden or that gap. So that's one of the legislative issues as Albany gets back to work for this legislative season. That's one of the issues we're going to be pounding them with to try to get that language discussed and vetted now rather than wait until 2021 when the first step down happens. We'll learn a little bit more about the status of the closure and everything tomorrow, and we'll put a report out to the community shortly thereafter. But it's a public meeting. It's at 7 o'clock. It's at the Town of Cortland Town Hall, and much like a board meeting, it's a meeting in public, but not a meeting with the public. And you can certainly attend, and I'll be able to provide some talking points afterwards. And I'll leave it at that.
Is that meeting going to be recorded?
I don't know. The first one wasn't.
I thought it was, right?
Did they say? Yeah, I just saw the email with the agenda that I'd seen before. There was discussion. It was. Let me confirm that. And usually any meeting of our interest that gets recorded, the town puts it up on their website, and then we'll link to it. We'll put a blast out and say, watch here, click here, and it will take people to the town website, but they could access it there.
That would be great.
Yep.
And I think maybe if you could send it to us, so
Yep.
make sure everybody has it.
A lot of people can't make it tomorrow night.
Right.
Yeah, we'll have a lot of people here tomorrow night for the high school teacher.
Thank you.
So I'll look for that email and I'll let you know. But the intent was for it to be recorded.
Okay, next, I'm going to switch committee reports and our presentation just in the interest of time, and I'd like to introduce Lynn Allen and John McCarthy from BOCES, who helped us conduct our 2017-2018 Board of Education retreat, and they're going to present the work that we developed.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having us here tonight.
Good evening.
First, we'd like to publicly express how impressed we are with the board and the superintendent for all the hard work that they have done leading up to tonight. It's an exciting night tonight. Your dedication is really, truly commendable. It's really amazing what you guys have been able to do. After several meetings during the summer, the board is ready to approve their action plan. This action plan is designed to begin to address the process of the impact that Indian Point will have on not only the community, but the school district as well. And prior to tonight, during our retreats and prior to our retreat, the board read the book, Our Iceberg is Melting. If the board remembers, this is a fable about a community of penguins that needed to move off of their iceberg because there was some severe structural damage to the iceberg. Very similar to the structural issues that you're dealing with the closing of Indian Point. In the book, they outline an 8-step process for successful change. I just would like to go over a couple of them for you. The first one is to create a sense of urgency. Clearly that was created for you when it was decided that the Indian Point was going to close down. So the urgency is already there, and it's important that you start to address it, as we just heard from the superintendent, long before the Indian Point actually closes. The second thing is putting together a guiding team. The board is a good start to that, but also part of the guiding team is going to have to be not only the administration, the staff, but also the community. You need to gather the experts to help you get through this so that the changes that you make will be long-lasting. After the data is collected, and there are many conversations that are going to occur, you're going to need to develop a new vision and a strategy to move forward. And like anything, one of the big things for this is communication and transparency. It is so important that you communicate and over-communicate. I know you're doing a great job with that, and we'll show you a slide in a second that shows how much you guys have been communicating about this situation. But as things evolve during the course of this change, it's important that the community and the staff and everybody involved understands what's going on. The other major piece to this is empowering others to act, right? So the board is a small but mighty group, but you're going to need the help of others, a lot of the experts from the community, experts from your staff. Allow them to do what needs to be done in order to enact this plan. And that is critical for your success. And then the last thing is, obviously you're going to have to try and sustain the culture that you develop. What you discussed during the summertime and continue to discuss is the importance of maintaining high-quality programs. So the next couple of slides that I put together, really this is the sense of urgency, right? There's a lot of information that's been out there, whether it be the New York Times, Journal News, NBC News. But as you can see from there's a couple of pictures of your superintendent, the county executive, senators that are discussing this issue. It's important that you do the exact same thing and make sure that the truth gets out there about the different information that's going on regarding the closing of Indian Point. And one of the things that we love that the district has put together is your informational card. That there's some more work that needs to be done on there. But I just want to, again, bring your attention to the bottom part of that card, which really discusses all the things that cause this sense of urgency, the impact that Indian Point could potentially have on this district. And it's really an unbelievable, monumental task in front of you. But I do believe that with your guidance, this community will be in a good place. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to Lynn Allen, who's going to talk about more of the process that you use to get to your actual action plan.
Good evening, everyone. It's wonderful to be here with you all again. And again, my accolades to you. I just want to echo some of what John said. You took this challenge very, very seriously, and you worked long and hard for 2 days over the summer. And the thought and the reflection and the insights that went into that, I think, will serve you well as you go forward. That we can be sure of. But the board felt that they wanted to employ a SWOT analysis, which is a basic strategic planning process. And with the SWOT analysis, it requires a particular goal to be set first in order to move forward with the thinking that goes behind this. Of course, your goal was really already established for you. How is this school district going to address the impact of the closure of Indian Point? And so what we did with the SWOT analysis is we set that as our goal. We kept our eye on that goal throughout the entire process. And with the SWOT analysis, you use a matrix that looks something like this. In the process, it seems very simple, but it's yet a very powerful one. You begin with that goal in mind, and you never leave it. You list all of your current strengths, your weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that are related to that goal. And of course, the uses of a SWOT analysis, the analysis comes first, is to, through that process of listing each one of, listing items in each one of those quadrants, is to then prioritize what you feel is your greatest strength. Which one of those strengths do you want to leverage in your plan moving forward? Which one of those weaknesses do you think is most important to minimize? Again, all related to the goal of what is the impact going to be on the school district as a result of the closing of Indian Point. What opportunity would be best to attempt to optimize? And of course, which threat would be best to defend against? The benefits of this SWOT analysis are multifold. And the first is to help you to analyze or evaluate the situation. The situation that is before you is one of the greatest challenges that we've certainly seen a district have to contend with. We've done this process, used this process with many other groups and school districts, and it has been very effective. But this was one that you really had to drill deeply down into each one of the different facets and layers and areas of this closing. And part of what we did over the summer that we saw, and of course you did a lot of work that led into that, is you were not prepared. You did not expect this. This was kind of thrust upon you and imposed upon you. So you took a great deal of time analyzing it. This process, I believe, helped you to do that. You have to analyze the process in order to make sure that your plan is most effective moving forward. The SWOT analysis benefits also speaks to help you to focus on what is possible. It would be very easy and maybe even understandable for the school district to say, oh my goodness, this has been thrust upon us, it's imposed upon us, this is impossible to address. Not once did the board say that. Not once did the board go down that road. And again, this process helped you to continue to focus on what is possible. And there are many, many things possible that you can apply to address the situation. And those will appear in your action plan that I'll speak to in just a few moments. A SWOT analysis also helps to identify new strategies, again, analyze and lead competition, make adjustments. But I think the most important thing here is new strategies. Strategies that you did not think that you would have to use before this event occurred. But you have to look at things in new and different ways. And the board was certainly prepared to do that, and again has, through this analysis, been able to create a plan. It's also an inclusive activity. It brings people together to look at a critical issue. The board did that along with the superintendent over the summer. However, all along the way, they knew that this would not be where it ended. But all along the way, as John said, one of the tenets of the book that they read is empowering others to act. So not only did the board step up to act, the superintendent stepped up to act, but also will be calling upon others within the school community and the community at large to step forward, because we're going to need all of those individuals to help to address this issue, all of those areas of expertise and experience to come together to move forward. So after the analysis is done, each one of those different quadrants, the listing and then the priorities, an action plan is created. And this is the action plan that the board is looking to review again tonight and hopefully approve. As you'll see here, the action plan lists first the strength. The strength there says communication capabilities. Here again, this is, the board has many strengths related to the goal, many, many strengths. But they felt that leveraging their communication capabilities would make for the best action to take considering this situation. So they're going to leverage the communication capabilities that they've already used, they've already proven over and over again, to develop a more comprehensive communication strategy to clearly and consistently convey the plan to maintain the high quality of the school district in light of the closure of Indian Point. The other thing that you're going to see that's a theme is this spotlight, shining this constant spotlight on maintaining the high quality of the district. What we want to, again, commend the board for is this is heavy-duty work that you are facing. But you never wavered, never diverted from, we must make sure that we protect the high quality of the education in this school district. Regardless of all the other things that are going on, and this is a pretty significant one, we must not lose sight of maintaining the high quality of the district. That was almost a laser focus throughout, so we commend you on that. We never once diverted from that. And then here again you see the communication capabilities, looking outside to create a more comprehensive communication plan and involving members not only of the school district but the community at large. So you can see that that comes up and that's really highlighted under that first strand. The weakness that they felt that they most needed to overcome in consideration of this goal is the lack of information to make important decisions. That's kind of haunted you throughout this process, where you've not really had the information that you've needed. You've gotten it late, miscommunications, and you're expecting that you're likely going to continue to have some of that gaps or lapses in communication. So the board thought that, in terms of their analysis, that conducting a comprehensive school district study, where you will look very carefully at enrollments, projections, so on and so forth, beyond what you might have already collected as a district, employing experts to help you with that, so that you have a study that can inform you in terms of your next steps in making decisions and your future planning. And this again is something that I know that has been a constant for you, is continuing to seek confirmation on the closing information there. And I think certainly your superintendent has done a fine job of trying to get that information throughout the process. Not for lack of trying, it's been slow coming and sometimes needing clarification over and over again. And that will probably stay with you for some period of time. The opportunity that the analysis pointed to in terms of optimizing was once again maintaining a high quality school district. And as you should be, your district, your board, your superintendent, and those who know the district, very proud of the work that you've been able to do in the area of curriculum instruction and assessment. And the board wants to make sure that that work continues, regardless of all of the other things you're going to be addressing, that there is support to move forward with that. And then the threat that came out of the analysis and the board felt was important was to try to ward against and to defend against a lack of state funding. This is very problematic, of course, as you just saw from the card and some of the issues that you're contending with. But in order to combat that, identifying, advocating, and applying for state and other funding sources to secure those resources you're going to need to continue to drive the district forward while you are addressing some of these issues will be of great importance. So again, SWOT analysis, you do quite a lot of heavy lifting in terms of, okay, what are our strengths and weaknesses, our opportunities and threats, focused on that goal. Again, what is the impact of the closing of Indian Point on Hendrick Hudson School District? Out of that analysis, you prioritize, culminates in an action plan, this one, and then that concludes the planning piece of a SWOT analysis. And again, our hats are off, kudos to the board for doing quite an exemplary job. And we've seen this process in place, as I said, for many years, many different situations, districts, groups, and again, you have done a very fine job. The thoughtfulness and the commitment and the dedication that we saw in this board is commendable. And so we absolutely want to make sure that we emphasize that. So as this planning process concludes, again, I think it is the intention of the board to review this, and if they feel comfortable to approve this plan, after the plan is approved, then the implementation phase begins. And we have given board and superintendent some tools as far as how then to take next steps to implement. But superintendent in particular felt important, let's approve the plan first, as the board would like to see it roll out. Then the implementation will begin, led by the superintendent. The board, of course, will be involved as the guiding leading team, but that will also involve administration of the members of the school community and the community at large.
Thank you so much. We appreciated both of you and helping us work. I'd like to really thank you and the rest of the board as well, because I think everybody worked so well together, and I appreciate the diligence of this board, and I appreciate the help that you extended to us. Does anybody have anything that they would like to question or add as far as this goes? Then can I please have a motion to accept this action plan? Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I would just like to also say to the public that we will be adding to this as we go forward, and you will be part of the discussions and part of some of our decision-making, so we look forward to that.
And I think also highlighting just how involved Joe, superintendent, has been in this whole process. I mean, you're constantly meeting and talking with somebody, and I mean, you even spoke about a meeting tomorrow night that you're so involved with, just with the hopefully correct people, and as far up as it'll go, and the teamwork that you're showing with the the Buchanan and the town of Portland and the state and everything. I think just everybody getting together. I think your particular function seems to be more like the identify, advocate, apply for state. Now that you're really pushing for that, and that seems to be your. I mean, you've been doing that for 6-8 months now. So
Yeah, and everyone's been a part of it. Our entire team, everyone at this table, Matthew
Showing up
and
at the
Margaret and
meetings.
Enrique and the board.
Correct.
Everyone
Correct.
has been carrying part of the bag. And again, I'll reiterate, this was, I think I was in the Blue Mountain Middle School parking lot, getting out of my car, walking into a meeting, and my phone rang at 8:04, and it was our
Notification.
representative with Indian Point saying, "We need you at a meeting. We're gonna make public this piece of information." And as John and Lynn had said throughout our retreat, that has changed. That will change how we go about doing our business at the 30,000 foot level. Meanwhile, our kids have to continue to have a world-class education, and so I've said we need to operate schizophrenically, where our kids are receiving the best, our teachers are doing the best they can with the resources we have, and plan for an unknown future, but try to provide as much stability to our community as we
keep the
can.
goal, keep the eye on the goal, which is
Yep.
Right.
And that was really the end of the book was "We Will Prevail," and that's a pretty good fight song.
We will prevail
We will
because we've got
prevail.
good communication, we've got good people, and, we're on it.
Thank you, and thank you.
Thank you very much.
You guys keep coming back and helping us out. One of these days, you're going to wash your hands of us.
Here, the district is in good hands with superintendent and board, and we're always here to support you, so.
Thank you.
Best of luck.
Thank you guys. Thank you very much.
Okay, next we have committee reports. Anybody?
Policy meets Monday, so we'll have a report next meeting.
Okay.
Barbara and I went to the safety meeting, right? And seems like things are going along nicely. So I don't
Yes.
think there's really anything much to report on that. But we just went.
Well,
and
yes,
attended.
people are starting up this year. We have a new company that we're working with, and things seem to be going in the right direction. So it's very good.
Went to the Blue Mountain Middle School PTA meeting and talked a little bit about the field trips for this year, and they seem to be focusing those field trips on team building activities, which is pretty exciting. That's kind of nice. And other than that, it was just the general first meeting of the year, membership, things like that.
And I went to the Westchester Putnam School Board Association Legislative Action Committee.
She does have children, right?
No.
Like 10? Good. I went to that action committee meeting, legislative action committee meeting, and it was well attended, and we discussed some of the directions that Westchester Putnam School Board Association would like to move in, specifically with relationship to the New York State government, and things that we would like to see happen with government support and that kind of stuff. So they were kind of pulling together their policies that were going to be voted on in, I think it's October that the meeting is at. And so that was it. There's some good stuff in there. We've passed several resolutions here that are in line with what they're trying to accomplish as well. So it was good.
I went to a SEPTA meeting last night right here in initial meeting, so they're trying to plan out their year. Sounds like they typically have quite a few speakers. They have a lot of good questions, sharing of information, and I would encourage more people to attend, especially in the evenings that they have their speakers. Hopefully that gets publicized, because it sounds like it's some good information, and sharing is
It's on the website.
useful.
It's on the website. They know they're very good about posting.
Okay. I just would like to give you a few dates that are important coming up on the calendar. October 6th, we have a early dismissal. Children will be coming home 15 minutes early. There's an emergency drill. On October 7th is homecoming and induction to the Hall of Fame. And congratulations to all the people that are inductees this year. On October 9th, schools are closed for Columbus Day. And on October 11th is our next Board of Education meeting. Anything else anybody would like to contribute? Okay, can I have a motion then to end the meeting?
Yes.
Second?
What time is it?
All in favor?
Aye.